I'm Greg Johnston, CEO of Carl Data Solutions, an industrial Internet of Things company that provides big data solutions for monitoring critical infrastructure. Carl Data offers machine learning and predictive analytics features through our cloud-based applications to deliver key asset-saving operational insights from massive amounts of data. Carl Data trades on the CSE, symbol CRL, and the Pink, symbol CDTAF. For more details on Carl Data, please visit carlsolutions.com.
Welcome to the Goddard Report. Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Jordan Bateman, Vice President of Communications for the Independent Contractors and Business Association. His website, icba.ca. Welcome back to the show, Jordan, and congratulations on the promotion.
Oh, thanks, Jim. It's very exciting. ICBA's been a great place to work, so I'm enjoying being part of the team and getting our message out.
Jordan, payroll taxes, I know, are the bane of employers. Do we have new payroll taxes for you to pay, or at least higher ones?
Yeah, so this is the year where the NDP have added the employer health tax. So it was announced in February's budget as a replacement for the medical services premium tax. They kind of jumped ahead and said we're going to do a payroll tax, even while their blue ribbon panel was still trying to decide which way to go would be the best. They just skipped through that process and slapped this on. But starting January 1st, employers have to pay a certain percentage of their payroll in taxes. And Jim, we have 2,100 member companies and clients in ICBA. We've been talking to many of them. And we've yet to come across a business owner who doesn't know down to the dollar just how much this tax is going to cost them. And a number of them have spoken to us about how concerned they are, how it's going to cut into profit sharing for their employees, how it means less hiring this year. We think this is going to have a really negative effect on the economy as it starts to add up month after month.
Do you think when governments impose taxes like that, they think about the long-term effect?
I think some do on certain taxes. I don't think the NDP gave 2 minutes of thought to the effect on the employment side or unemployment on this. You got to remember, the NDP are coming from an ideology where they believe that companies are bad, corporations are bad, they're evil, profit is evil, or they have endless money. They don't understand kind of the holistic approach to the economy, which is you need these job creators, you need investment, you need entrepreneurs, you need businesses to keep powering the economy. So, right down to, they had a different definition of what a small business was from the rest of Canada when they first announced this tax, because they were going to exempt small businesses, which might be better defined as micro businesses. The threshold was so low. But we met with a prominent engineering company doing a lot of work in Surrey and in Vancouver on a number of projects. They have a staff of just over 40 people. They've been growing in leaps and bounds. They're excited. Their staff have profit sharing, and they say that this year it'll cost them about $100,000, just that employer health tax, which means they're contemplating taking, trying to claw back a third of that out of profit sharing, a third out of the owner's profits, and then a third will be passed on to customers, making all those residential, homes, all that residential work they do more expensive. So it'll be a trickle effect where, the workers, the people the NDP claim they want to help, get less money, where the company owners, get less money, so they have, less ability to invest back into their business, and where folks looking to move into a new home will be paying a little bit more to cover off those costs. Will
this tax possibly chase employers to other provinces or across the border?
Yeah, I think competitiveness is a huge issue that the BC NDP never want to talk about. There's competitiveness with other provinces. BC has the highest carbon tax in Canada. It's no longer revenue neutral, which, despite all the, flaws, there are many flaws in Trudeau's approach to business. The carbon tax that he's touting, he claims will be revenue neutral. That won't be the case for BC any longer. You have all that, and then you have what's happening in the States where they defeated the carbon tax outright in Washington State for the third time. They have much lower tax rates thanks to the Donald Trump tax cuts. They're not putting up the regulatory burdens to investment, while they're kind of stripping some of the superfluous red tape out of their EPA, Environmental Protection Agency. British Columbia is going the other way. They're adding, ridiculous amounts of red tape to every kind of development in the province. So yeah, at some point the competitive balance has tipped away from BC. We think the NDP are leading us into the R word, recession, and we think it's going to come within the next couple of years.
We'll have more with Jordan Bateman right after this.
Arctic Star Exploration, operated by a team of proven mine finders, is focused on diamonds in Finland and the Northwest Territories of Canada. Work programs are underway in Finland and Canada. Arctic Star trades on the TSX Venture Exchange symbol ADD, on Frankfurt symbol 82A1, and the OTCQB symbol ASDZF. Please visit our website arcticstar.ca or call us at 604-689-1799.
Cypress Development Corp's flagship lithium project is located just east of Albemarle's Silver Peak mine in the heart of Clayton Valley, Nevada. A 12-hole exploration drill program for lithium-enriched claystone on Cypress's 100% controlled properties is now underway. Cypress Development Corp trades on the TSX Venture Exchange symbol CYP, the pink CYDVF, and on Frankfurt C1Z1. For more information, please visit our website, cypressdevelopmentcorp.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Jordan Bateman. Jordan, is one of the solutions to improving housing affordability cutting the red tape? I hear it can take at least 10 years to get a housing project built and ready to sell because you have to jump through so many hoops and just wait so long in line just to get a building permit.
Yeah, there's no doubt red tape is a huge problem. In housing, we did a study when I was at the Canadian Taxpayers Federation that there were 170 different taxes, fees, and levies applied by the City of Vancouver and other government agencies onto development there. Every single one of those pieces of red tape comes with a cost that gets passed on to the end consumer. When we talk about affordability, but no politician wants to look at the fact that they tax housing at a rate of 50% or so. If they reduce their tax haul and the regulatory burden, you could get a lot more housing into the market faster and for cheaper. So yeah, it's a big problem, and you can now add the employer health tax as yet another tax on top of it.
When I was in Burnaby and there was a proposal to sell the condo development, the proposed overall price, a third of that would go to the municipality, and people balked at selling. In other words, they could have developed a lot of affordable housing there, but it never happened because the municipality was clawing back a third of the profit.
Yeah, I mean, people have, it's easy for government, right? Like, government claws back that profit. They can take any of the risk in building it. They take any of the risk in buying it. They take any of the long-term maintenance costs of it, and yet they feel entitled to a big chunk of it. It's been an ongoing problem for many years. We're seeing lots of infringements by government into private property rights. And it's going to continue until finally, government realizes that they are the architect of a lot of the problems. They want to blame foreign buyers. They want to blame money laundering for high housing costs. No doubt those play a small part. But nothing plays a bigger part in affordability than government overregulation, government overtaxation. If people had more money at the end of every month in their paychecks, they could afford a lot more. And if people weren't waiting for years and years to build homes, paying all this extra red tape, those homes would be more affordable. So blame the foreign and money laundering boogeyman all you want. David Eby and his ilk need to look in the mirror and look at how they can reduce tax burdens as well.
The Nanaimo By-election went to the NDP. How important was that to provincial politics, and what does it mean to your association?
It was important, there's no doubt about it, but it was a bit of a Hail Mary for the BC Liberals. I mean, that's as strong an NDP riding as you're going to find in British Columbia. I think 14 of the last 16 elections have gone to the NDP in Nanaimo. Nanaimo now will fall back into its usual fate of being ignored by the NDP and taken for granted. Sad for them. But the big story for us out of it was the utter collapse of the Green vote. In the 2017 election, the Green candidate got 20% of the vote in Nanaimo. This time they got 7.5%, and fully 8 or 9 points of that went to the BC Liberals. So interesting to see that. I think Andrew Weaver and his Green Party is in a lot of problems strategically. It'll be interesting to see if maybe they'll be a little bit more, a little bit stiffer, tougher with the NDP government in the next year or two in order to try to get themselves some traction with the electorate, because what they're doing right now ain't working.
Do you think the Greens had too much riding on the referendum on whether we would have proportional representation?
Yeah, I think that's what their hope was, but that was soundly defeated by the public. I'm not sure what the Greens have really gotten out of their deal with the NDP. They didn't get prop rep. They didn't stop Site C, thank God. They didn't stop LNG, thank God. But, they really haven't gotten anything out of this deal except, bleeding votes to the, back to the BC Liberals, bleeding some votes to the NDP in this Nanaimo by-election. And, it's easy to say, well, it's just Nanaimo. It's a one-off. The Greens will be fine. The same thing happened in the West Kelowna by-election after Christy Clark resigned. Andrew Weaver was there 4 or 5 times, brought the whole caucus up, touted their candidate there as a star candidate, and again, that guy got less than 10 points. So, if Andrew Weaver wants a long-term Green presence in British Columbia politics, he better start getting tough and carving out his own niche rather than just being the poor tag-along little brother of the NDP.
Do you feel the public has the perception that a vote for the Greens is a wasted vote?
Well, I think if you're supportive of the NDP's agenda, why would you vote for the farm team or the little brother when you could vote for the NDP themselves? If you oppose their agenda, why would you vote for the Greens who go along with everything they do? You, of course, would vote for the BC Liberals instead. So they're kind of a man without a country right now. They have, they're down to that very core Green supporter, 7 points or so. They need to find a way out of this mess. I'm not sure that Andrew Weaver has shown the political chops to do that. So maybe they need to consider leadership shakeup. Maybe they need to consider new strategists. Maybe they need to consider listening to guys like Norm Spector, who tried to offer them some advice during the negotiations of the confidence and supply agreement with the BC NDP. They would have been a lot better off if they'd listened to him and kind of taken things issue by issue, and sided with the Liberals when it was appropriate and sided with the NDP when it was appropriate.
All this alleged money laundering happened under the watch of the Liberal government. Do you think the NDP is going to use that as ammo in the next provincial election?
Yeah, I think they're going to use that. I think they're going to use the stuff from the Pleckus report, unless there's a big pushback from Lenz and James. One thing this did do was it gave the Liberals a little taste. It gave their new leader, Andrew Wilkinson, a taste of what it will be like in a general election. It gave their new party apparatus a taste of what the NDP will be throwing at them. It's very clear the NDP will not spend much time in the next election cycle talking about their own record. They're going to spend most of it talking about the 16 years the BC Liberals were in power. So the Liberals need to start finding the answers to that and the way to buffer that off. It's always a challenge, but, it takes two to tango, and if they're trying to force a different narrative, they've got to find ways to get that into the public consciousness. Well,
it looks like Trudeau's using the same thing where he keeps talking about the Harper Conservatives in the House of Commons right now, even though they have a new leader under Scheer.
Yeah, you keep coming back to the Harper Conservatives line, but, I think the longer we get away from the Harper years, the more people kind of go, maybe that guy wasn't so bad. It's like you start to forget the bad things, you start to remember the good things. That's why Davy Barrett was a much-loved former premier of British Columbia, even though he lost multiple elections after his brief 3-year stint. That's why W.A.C. Bennett looked back so fondly. No one really remembers the warts. Bill Bennett, there's this kind of dim remembers like, was there labor problems? Yeah, it was the 80s. It was crazy. But Bill Bennett sure built this problem. Gordon Campbell looked a whole lot better once Christy Clark came in. So, absence makes the heart grow fonder. And the further Harper is in the rearview mirror, the more people will say things like, hey, you know what? Maybe the old guy wasn't so bad.
We'll have more with Jordan Bateman right after this.
I'm Douglas Mason, CEO of Naturally Splendid, symbol NSP on the TSX Venture Exchange. Naturally Splendid is a biotechnology and consumer products company focused on the global cannabis and health markets. Naturally Splendid is expanding distribution in this rapidly growing market with products currently in Canada, the USA, South Korea, Germany, and Australia. To view our comprehensive company presentation and for more information, please visit our website at naturallysplendid.com.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap, with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Jordan Bateman. Jordan, your association has an important court date coming up. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, so we've joined with a number of other associations, including the BC Construction Association, the Vancouver Regional Construction Association, Progressive Contractors Association. We've joined with unions like CLAC, the Canada West Construction Union. We've joined with certain companies, some workers, to challenge the NDP government's use of, well, basically challenge their union monopoly on projects like the Patello Bridge. So right now, British Columbia law says if you want to work on the Patello Bridge project, you need to join one of 19 government-approved building trades unions. These are the same unions who gave about $2.5 million to the NDP over the years. Now they'll force people to join those unions, and the unions will be able to control how they're deployed and who works with who. It's very unfair, and it cuts out 85% of the construction industry. 85% of construction workers are not involved with those building trades unions, but now they're all going to be forced to join, to pay them dues, to pay into the retirement funds, and to pay for things that they'll never be able to access once they leave the union fold. So these folks were in court at the end of the month for 3 days, looking at various ways to challenge this agreement, and we're hopeful that hopefully the court will hear the case and rule on the side of fairness, openness, and transparency.
What's the main argument in favor of not having a closed shop?
Well, the main argument for taxpayers is saving money. So we know from the Island Highway project, which was a closed shop, that it drove up costs substantially by tens of millions of dollars. We know from the Minister of Transportation's own mouth that the Patello Bridge will have at least a 7% cost overrun because of this agreement. And what happens is, it's not because these guys, if you're in the union, you're getting paid more, because that no longer happens. There's pay parity. What happens is there's so many extra costs involved with having a union. You have to pay into all their weird little funds, a library fund and nonsense like that. So that drives up costs. There's also inefficiencies because, on a non-union construction site, if carpenter's walking by and is doing some work and, the plumber's trying to move pipes and needs a hand, the carpenter will just pick up the pipe and help him carry it, right? Like you just kind of, you pitch in and help. That is strictly verboten on these building trades union sites. Both those guys would get written up and cast out. So there's that inefficiency. And then there's a safety issue. So if we have a company of open shop workers and they bid on this Patello Bridge, their workers will be forced to be put into the pool of unionized workers, forced to join that union, and the union will decide who gets sent out to build on that particular day. The problem is a lot of these crews have worked together for a lot of years, and so they know how each other work. There's a comfort level, confidence in each other's abilities, especially when it comes to safety. But all of a sudden you're mixing it up and you're working next to a stranger on something very sensitive. Maybe they don't understand or aren't up to snuff on the latest safety protocols. So there's all these kind of different things that happen. It's inefficient. We think it puts worker safety at risk. It really doesn't derive any benefit to anyone except for the union to cash the big checks.
Jordan, thank you so much for chatting with us.
Thanks for having me.
My guest has been Jordan Bateman, Vice President Communications, Independent Contractors and Business Association, their website icba.ca. If you have any questions for Jordan or any of our other guests, you can send them to info@howstreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard. Thanks for listening.
Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. The Goddard Report is available online and mobile at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. The Goddard Report is a production of Howe Street Media Incorporated.